Matchroom boss Eddie Hearn couldn't hide his excitement after spending a day inside town's Bud Crawford's training camp, and his verdict was crystal clear. The undisputed welterweight king is looking downright dangerous. That excitement only intensified after Canelo Alvarez's underwhelming performance against William Skull. Hearn pointed out that it wasn't just Canelo's inability to cut off the ring, it was a clear sign that age might be catching up. According to Hearn, Canelo is entering the twilight stage of his career and could be approaching retirement.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Skull, Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished. He still has the desire for those training camps and those fights, but I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love, but just because of age. Life.
In fact, Hearn admitted that after watching the fight with Skull, he was almost certain Canelo would retire before ever stepping into the ring. However, he now believes that a showdown with Crawford might be the one fight capable of reigniting Canelo.
Don't get me wrong, right? The Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose Crawford.
I won't obey. You cannot tell me what I cannot say. I'm here to last, so yeah, I'm here to stay. I'm living second like my final day. You can't take that away.
I'm winning comfortably. I'm not getting hit. I'm not affecting my body. Give me my money. Thank you very much. Do you know what I mean? So, and I don't blame him for that. But the thing is, when you get the fighters at the right time, and that is a reflection of their age as well. They're more forward, but they're more, naive, but they're more willing to go in there and have a look.
Adding more intrigue to the moment, Eddie Hearn revealed that he was seated next to Callum's Crawford during Canelo Alvarez's fight with William Skull. It was at that very moment Hearn admitted that he became convinced Crawford would beat Canelo. Despite both men being the same age, Hearn noted that Crawford appeared noticeably younger, fresher, sharper, more explosive. The contrast in energy and movement between the two fighters was striking, reinforcing Hearn's belief that Crawford was what it takes to become the Mexican superstar potential blockbuster showdown.
Because he's not the fighter he was. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of pride for those guys. So he's made a huge amount of money. I don't know, look, maybe it was just lightning sounded, a negative opponent, all this kind of stuff. But I was sitting next to Bud for the whole fight, and I was thinking, I think you'll probably beat him. You know?
Wow.
Don't get me wrong, it's a very tough fight for both, great fight. But the movement of Terence Crawford and the ring IQ, and he looks like, in my opinion, the younger, fresher fighter, even though they're both, 36 and 38? It's amazing. But Bud is watching that fight going, his ring IQ is incredible, his belief is incredible. He's watching that fight going, I know exactly how to beat him. Now, doing it is different. And the weight disparity, of course, is going to be a problem. But I actually think he's turned into the favourite.
Reflecting on Crawford's journey, Hearn pointed out that Terence never had the chance to build a kind of resume typically expected from a fighter of his caliber. Not because opponents were ducking him, but simply because he never got those marquee matchups. Hearn suggested that a major factor behind this was a lackluster promotional effort during Crawford's earlier years. Subtly calling out Bob Arum, Hearn criticized a failure to elevate Crawford's profile or secure the big-name fights his elite talent deserved. However, it was Canelo's underwhelming performance against William Skull that made Eddie Hearn reconsider his stance on potential clash with him. Initially, when the fight was first discussed, Hearn had dismissed the idea, doubting Crawford could even make the weight and suggesting he was massively undersized compared to Canelo. But after witnessing
47. You know? Like, and by the way, he's an outstanding fighter, but the problem is with Bud, and I said this to him on the fly, I said, you never got the chance to build an amazing resume, because there was no one for you to
You
fight.
cannot tell me what I cannot say.
He's like, Ricky Bell.
I'm here to last, so yeah, I'm here to stay.
But I said,
I'll live each second like my final day. You can't take that away.
But even he acknowledges that Errol Spence, you know, was probably a little bit. And Bud could beat all the greats, but he never really got the chance, and that's why this fight's really important. He was never really built or promoted correctly, and then his purses, because he was so good and because he was winning everything, were going up and up and up. And then Bob looks at it and goes, "We need to put him on pay-per-view because ESPN or wherever it is at the time aren't paying the rights fees to pay what this guy wants. So we roll the dice on pay-per-view, it flops. Right? The numbers are much better. Of course, yeah. But when he fights Jeff Horn, when he fights Costa, when he fights Eddie Hearn, when he fights El Burrow,
Are those fights? Were those fights ever really going to say?
not really, but what happens? But you're rolling the dice because if you don't hit the numbers, someone's got to make up the deficit on the minimum, and that will be Bob, right? So when Terence does his deal to fight Kell Brook or Eddie Hearn, he says, "Yeah, I want 3 million, 4 million minimum guarantee, plus I want my upside on the pay-per-view over 150." It ends up doing 60,000 fights, and the break-even point is 125 for top rank, and they're in for 3 million. And then Bob looks at it and goes, absolute berserk. And from that day, Bob goes, "It's a waste of money." I think he's the fresher guy in there. And I very rarely back against Canelo Alvarez, but it would not surprise me at all if Crawford won that.
Echoing Hearn's growing belief in Crawford, Andre Ward confidently picked Terence Crawford in a potential showdown with Canelo. Ward made it clear he's not picking anyone against Crawford right now. He emphasized that until someone proves they can break Crawford's will and stop him from adjusting and finding a way to win, there's no reason to bet against him.
How is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
What weight class?
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford, like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. But you have to use your movement. If you Terence Crawford in that fight, the last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him. I don't think so. I think that it's much too much weight for Terence, you know. His style was difficult, and, you know, people will say it was a poor performance from Terence, but let's just say it was a great performance from Madrid, you know. I think 168 is much too big for Terence, but like you said, if the money's right, he'll fight.
Joining the conversation, legendary trainer Teddy Atlas offered high praise for both fighters. While analyzing the matchup, he acknowledged that Crawford hasn't faced a type of resume fans often expected of all time, but quickly pointed out that greatness isn't just built upon your life. It's something you either have or you don't. While calling Canelo tremendous fights with undeniable skill, Atlas highlights that Crawford's greatness lies in desire, mindset, and very makeup is competitive.
You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove that they can break Terence Crawford that he can't figure it out.
You cannot tell me what I cannot say.
Canelo, but I've said this
I'm
the
here
last
to
time.
last,
I'm
so
betting
yeah,
against
I'm
Terence
here to
Crawford.
stay.
You got to show me the truth.
On the other
I'll
hand,
live each second like my final day. You can't take that away.
while giving credit to Canelo Alvarez as a great fighter, Stevenson sees Crawford as having every tool needed to win. He pushed back against the growing weight narrative dominating conversation, insisting that too much focus is being placed on size rather than pure skill.
Canelo's really good, really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up the weight class, carry it, you know, but there's some tension.
Meanwhile, the legendary Sugar Ray then added a timely perspective to the discussion. He stated that in the fight of this magnitude, it's not just about skill or strategy. It's about fighting spirit, heart, and will to often determine the outcome of the elite warriors clash. If the burning desire is there, he said, then victory will follow.
I think, Canelo is a good fighter, but I think Bud is
You don't think the weight difference be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
Boxing big enough.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height wise, he's kind of small. So I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud could crack too. So if they do fight, I told you I think that Bud outboxes him. I think he's gonna use his leg, keep Canelo on the outside and make it an easy win. This story, I said it before, but I'm gonna say it again. I was in the gym. I want to say I was getting ready for Chris Diaz or something, and he was sparring like a heavyweight fighter. I'm looking, I'm type nervous for him. I'm like, why is he in the ring with this big old dude? And man, I swear he done caught this dude on the shake. Boom, dude, wobbling all around the ring. I'm like, what the how is this dude this strong? But it's like, honestly, Bud is very strong. A lot of people don't realize how strong he is as a fighter, and his punching power could carry through the weight class.
Offering a unique angle, Coyote Davis, one of the few fighters who have trained with both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, shared his insight on the potential match. Reflecting on his experience, Davis said that stepping into the ring with fighters of that caliber provides invaluable knowledge and sharpens his game. He acknowledged that Crawford will face an adjustment period moving up to the 168-pound division, adding another layer of difficulty. Davis expects the fight to be a high-level chess match filled with strategic nuance and detail. But when pressed with predictions, he leaned toward Canelo, citing the weight disparity as a deciding factor.
Whoever wants to win. You know what I mean?
I won't obey. You cannot tell me what I cannot say. I'm here to last, so yeah, I'm here to stay. I'll live each second like my final day. You can't take that away.
Argued that the fight is physically mismatched. While he acknowledged that Crawford will likely make the weight and enter the ring at around 163 pounds, Sanchez emphasized that size still matters. He pointed out that Canelo is a naturally bigger, stronger fighter who has consistently taken punches from full-fledged super middleweights and light heavyweight to high-end Sanchez. No matter how skilled Crawford is, the raw physicality of Canelo will eventually take over.
Every time you spar with a level guy, you learn something from them and you gain experience. I've been in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, I've been in the ring with Eddie Hearn, I've been in the ring with Triple G, and it's just going up and James Jacobs, I've been in the ring with Caleb Flair, Julian Williams. I've been in the ring with everybody in the team that has some value. I've been definitely everything. Crawford definitely was power division. I know he's been sitting there heavyweight for a while, but he's on his training, so that definitely won't help him. Canelo experience. We got Crawford, we got great experience as well. It's going to be a great fight, a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally like sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he doesn't, if anybody can do it, it'll be